Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. Now it's time to discover your legal issue blind spots by listening to me talk about the law on the radio. But first, let's check in with Joseph Warren for the financial focus. Joseph and his father and brother, they own and operate Financial Planning HQ. They don't sell insurance or investments. They work with financially successful people to develop a financial roadmap and a comprehensive written lifetime financial strategy, as well as align their subject matter experts to give you advice so that you don't have to worry about reaching your financial goals. That allows you to focus on what really matters to you. Joseph, what's the financial focus this week?
Yes, I thought I would talk about creating a reliable retirement paycheck and how you can make that transition from where you have a steady paycheck each week. I've seen clients struggle with this sometimes to in retirement where you have to start distributing from assets. So I'm going to talk about a little bit of those tactics and how a coordinated approach based on the financial roadmap can really help you to have a clear picture of what retirement will look like that's tax efficient and allows your money to work for you for the rest of your life.
What do people tend to miss out on when they're trying to plan that retirement check?
I think one thing is thinking about it as an investment management only problem. So kind of looking at it from that vacuum of investment management of, my investment guy's choosing good investments, good mutual funds and ETFs. And, as long as he's doing that, I should be fine to take the money from whichever account. Mm-hmm. But when you think about it, a rule of thumb that you may have heard of is the 4% rule. Have you heard of that, Todd?
No, that was new to me.
So it's this idea that you can take 4% from any portfolio in retirement and it'll last you the rest of your life. So let's say you have a $1 million portfolio. It's saying that you could take $40,000 per year and that should last you for life. Keep the principal there. Mm-hmm. And it's a good rule of thumb. It's good to have these kind of like as a something to think about, just kind of get like back of the paper napkin type of math. But if you think about that and you don't have a clear strategy that's coordinated with the tax expert, with the insurance expert and everybody, let's say you take that money completely from your IRA or your 401k, which hasn't been taxed. Mm-hmm. In the 10 to 12% bracket, you're not really getting $40,000 to spend. Now it's becoming $35,000.
Right.
Because the IRS is taking a chunk, and that's each and every year. Mm-hmm. Right. So we start from day one by talking to a CPA, a tax expert, who's proactive and who engages in planning. And we look at, from a tax perspective, how should we be taking the money? From which bucket is it? The pre-tax IRA, the taxable brokerage account, the Roth IRA, the tax-free account. And we come up with a truly personalized strategy that, one, makes the money last as long as possible in all market conditions, and two, is tax efficient.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This is Talk Law Radio, Financial Focus with Joseph Warren with Financial Planning HQ, and he's talking about how to get a paycheck during your retirement or how to create one. And so what are some tactics that you employ to make that happen?
Yeah, there's a lot. I think the first thing is using those lower tax brackets, right? So the 10 to 12% bracket, if you are there in the early years of retirement before your required beginning date, where you have to start taking those required minimum distributions out of your pre-tax accounts, those 401ks and IRAs, making sure that you're getting the most out of that by doing Roth conversions. And with that, we'll talk to the CPA and we'll come up with a budget. What's the amount this client should be doing? What's the optimal amount of Roth conversions to do? And then not only that, we make sure it happens. And then we automate it. So each year, you know exactly how much to take in a Roth conversion. You know when it's going to happen, usually 2 times throughout the year. And you're building up that tax-free money, which actually helps you when you're taking RMDs because some of your money is tax-free and you have that tax-free option for later.
Right. Wow, that sounds really powerful. Mm-hmm. If somebody's interested in learning how to make this retirement paycheck more tax efficient, what should they do?
Definitely give us a call. If this is something you want help with, call me at 210-444-2128. That's 210-444-2128. I'll be checking right after the show, not during the show, after the show, I'll be checking my phone and calling everyone back right away so you can get the process started.
Great. You've been talking a lot about protecting the retirement paycheck. How does risk management play into creating a strategy for a reliable retirement paycheck that lasts for their whole life?
Yeah. It's being ready for whatever happens, because sometimes life goes off script, sometimes the world goes off script. So one thing we do is we make sure, of course, you have the right type of every type of insurance. You're not paying for insurance you don't need, things like that. But a big part of that is Social Security, and also things like inflation, stagflation, and market crashes. There's a big risk in retirement called sequence of return risk, which basically is mathematically true, but basically the rule of thumb here is the way you could think about it is the worst time for a market downturn to happen or for your portfolio to go down is that year you retire. So 2008 was a really bad year to retire because you start compounding off those losses in your retirement, right? So we have a plan for that. And part of that is each and every one of our clients knows the exact amount of cash reserves they need to have. We substantiate it based on, insurance deductibles, how much non-discretionary expenses for how long of a runway you would need, and also risks like the sequence of return risk. So when our clients retire, they'll have a cash reserve and a backup plan for even if the worst happens. Say you're retiring in the equivalent of 2008, and the market's about to go down. Will there be a plan for deploying that money into the market little by little each year? And even if nothing happens, we will make sure that excess cash gets deployed into the market. So we're really thinking about what could go wrong and what exactly are the actions we'll take. Same with inflation. We did a lot of great planning with inflation in 2022 with Series I bonds and things like that. But we make sure the plan works under 7% inflation for life. Even stagflation, which we haven't seen in a long time, but I think that was back in the 70s. But that's where you have high inflation and little to no growth in the economy. We'll even look to make the plan successful 95% of the time or more in situations of stagflation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wasn't alive then, so I didn't hear about that. I didn't learn about it, but I'm sure that you study all the financial books. So there's a lot of options and decisions for people to make. What's a big mistake our listeners should try and avoid?
I think the biggest one when you're planning a retirement paycheck is just looking at it as an investment-only problem. So kind of just looking at it like, okay, I got to get my investments right. You really need that comprehensive, coordinated approach of which account should I take from in terms of tax status. Asset location is another thing to think about. Like, should I take more risk in a certain account, maybe a tax-free account, than I do in a pre-tax account that's going to be taxed completely? So really having a team on your side where there's the tax strategies taken care of, risk management, goal planning, so you're confident you are going to achieve your goals, and having this team working for you so you can focus on the things that are more important than money, I would say is the main thing. And with confidence, as that retirement paycheck comes in, it's going to last you for life. It's the most tax-efficient setup possible. But really what you're getting at the end of the day is you're just getting that paycheck coming to you automatically from your assets, what you've built over your lifetime. And you can just enjoy the fruits of your labor and just focus on things that matter more than money, I would say.
Yeah,
So,
how nice would that be?
very nice. Yes, yes.
So if I have a CPA and I have an investment advisor, don't I have everything that I need?
A lot of the time people do have, at least a CPA, they got an investment advisor. The problem is they're not communicating in most instances. I would say 95% of the time, I've noticed that they're not in communication. No one's taking that leadership role. The CPA is not saying like, oh, I need to communicate with the investment advisor. They're saying, I've just handled the taxes.
Right.
The investment person saying, my job is just to make this portfolio grow, not to worry about the taxes. We make sure that everything's orchestrated, everyone's rowing in the same direction and aligned on your strategy. And that leads to less confusion, more clarity, and it makes it so you get there to your goals faster because you really have this really smart mastermind of experts working. They all know what's important to you. They all know your strategy. And then we just hold everyone accountable to get it done so you can focus on your life, focus on your grandchildren, your children, and the things that you love to do.
Awesome. Thank you. We have to take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking about long-term care deficiencies. Stay tuned.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Most families don't realize they have hidden legal blind spots until it's too late. Wills, trusts, Medicaid planning, even protecting a business. These are the kinds of issues attorney Todd Marquardt helps uncover before they become problems. Todd is the host of Talk Law Radio, where each week he guides listeners through the legal challenges families, veterans, and business owners face, while showing them the practical steps to protect what matters most. Catch Talk Law Radio, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, 6:30 a.m. The Word, and now in Houston on AM 1070 and 103.3 FM The Answer, or anytime on YouTube. Planning isn't just about documents. It's about peace of mind, security for loved ones, and building a legacy that lasts. Don't wait for a crisis. Do it before you die.